Hi there, Matt from Shields Lab here with a quick lesson slash activity that I did with my kids the other day that I just wanted to share. Uh, we made stained glass, um, and I want to share just quickly how we did it and maybe some of the lessons you can pull out of it. What we did here is we just took a rectangle of black construction paper, cut out a rectangle of black construction paper, and then took the rest of the black construction paper and cut out a bunch of shapes. I think I had my kids do that before they even knew what they were doing. And then once they had cut out a bunch of shapes, just the black shapes, then I covered the black construction paper with packing tape, or actually I had some adhesive film, but you can use packing tape. And then I asked my kids, take the black shapes you've made and just make a scene. And so they used the circles, and I think this is a guy in a car. I forget. I think they're fighting or something like that. But I just had them together. They made a scene, and when the scene was done, I then used squares of tissue paper. I think we had enough left over from packages and stuff. We cut out squares of tissue paper and just literally covered the back with just tons of squares, as you can see. And the result looks kind of cool. And when you hold it up to light, I don't know if you can tell, when you hold it up to light, you get like a stained glass effect. Now, that was a pretty fun project by itself. It didn't require a lesson associated with it. The first time I actually ever did this lesson, I was in ninth grade in Miss Leeper's English and World History class. And we did this as a part of our study of Gothic cathedrals. And these were stained glass windows. And we talked about how you can do storytelling through stained glass. Um, but because my bent is physics, I made this a lesson about light. And so the quick little physics lesson I gave my kids was, have you ever thought about how some things are transparent, some things are translucent, and some things are opaque? And it's interesting that windows, if you knock on a window, they're plenty solid and plenty thick, but light passes right through them. But some things that are maybe thinner than windows, light stops. And then there's things like this black construction paper that blocks all light. And then there's things like this colored tissue paper that only some light gets through and other light gets scattered. And so the terms I was using with my kids as we just talked about this was transparent, translucent. I even threw in some Latin roots, and then opaque. And then we talked about how light can be transmitted, light can be reflected, light can be refracted, and that was probably all the lingo. Probably a little early. I have a 4-year-old and a 6-year-old to talk about the why, that light is an electromagnetic wave. And when it comes into contact with any matter, all matter is made up of electrically charged particles like electrons and protons. Anytime light, which is the electromagnetic wave, interacts with matter, there's going to be an interaction. And so sometimes that interaction means light is just transmitted through, sometimes it's absorbed, sometimes it's reflected, or sometimes it's scattered, meaning the colors of the light, depending on the frequency, are scattered in different directions. So we talked a little bit about that's why the sky is blue, and we talked about why windows are transparent, and why some things are opaque. I think a lot of that went over their heads, but depending on how old your kids are, I think it's interesting to talk about how your ceiling of your house is opaque to light, but it's transparent to cell phone signals, and Wi-Fi. The walls in your house are opaque, but they're transparent to cell phone signals, and all these things are just different types of light. So it's really about how the electromagnetic waves of light interact with matter. But again, with my 4-year-old and my 6-year-old, it was basically just, isn't that neat that light makes it through some things and not through others? And I think that was kind of the extent of it. And I used stained glass activity as a jumping off point for that. And then they loved it actually, and we've made a few more of these, and they're hanging all over the house right now, and the kids love to talk about what's going on in the pictures. So just a quick fun activity. Hope you enjoy.